think I had such an extreme need to change my life that I ended up doing something extreme. And it has changed my life. You know, the biggest turning point is knowing that I need to be somebody that I'm proud of. I need to be somebody that I'm in love with. So I want to be myself, truly.
Yeah.
I don't have to perform for you to love me. If you really loved me, you wouldn't want me to perform.
Don't you think that being with a narcissist is something addictive?
Absolutely. But there's also like a scientific reason for that, right?
Yeah.
Because love yourself truly means to be honest with yourself. To have complete, relentless honesty with yourself, being completely true with who you are. I am okay with knowing my downfalls. I know my flaws, I accept them. I know my pain, I see it, I face it. This is who I am because I'm honest with myself.
Hello, bonjour à tous. I hope you're well. We're back on this new episode of Untempered Podcast. And today I'm very excited to have an amazing woman with a powerful story on my side. And this woman is Naila.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's good to see you here. And actually, you look great, I have to tell you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You too. You're gorgeous.
Thank
And
you.
I love the accent, the French accent.
Yeah, actually. So funny. So I try to work on it, but it's like not easy.
I love it though. Don't lose it because your English is perfect, right? It's just the accent. It's like the sexiest accent. It makes me wish like I pursued French more.
Thank you. You went to France actually, or?
No, I'm Lebanese and my parents speak fluent French. But as soon as I could drop it in school because I found it so challenging, I dropped it and I regret it now in my adulthood. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Really?
it would be so amazing to speak French.
So Naila, you were a skydiver. Amazing. You're an entrepreneur as well, the host of Untempered Podcast, and a mother as well.
Yeah.
So it's very inspiring. And actually, I feel that you really embody the vision of the podcast, you know, like I can tell that you're in your reborn era as well.
Thank you.
When I saw you in the interviews and what you share on the social media, it's amazing.
Thank
and
you so much.
I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank
I
you.
think like a lot of people will relate to your story because you will give hope to a lot of people that are feeling stuck in their own lives. So I was really excited about this.
Thank you so much. Me too. I'm ready.
So where did you grow up first?
So I grew up in a tiny, tiny, tiny little village, like literally in the port of Lebanon. It's called Mina, and nobody really knows about it. It's inside of Tripoli, which is the north of Lebanon. Very, very tiny place. I don't even know the population, but yeah. And I was there for about 8 years, and then the war broke out. One of many wars in Lebanon, of course. And then we moved to Saudi Arabia, so we moved all the time. But originally, I'm Lebanese.
Okay, wow, that's great. And you moved from place to place, right? During your childhood.
Yeah.
How was it?
Gosh, we moved all the time. Like I actually, you know, when you look back in your childhood and you think of a place, usually there's always something that pops up like your childhood home.
Yeah.
I don't actually have that memory because we were constantly in different apartments and different places. So I just think of like multiple images. And, you know, it was like changing not just apartments and homes, but we were changing countries. So it was different cultures as well and different kinds of speaking Arabic and different friends, different schools. Yeah, it was not really consistent.
Yeah, so how was your childhood? Was it a happy childhood actually?
Oh, as you can see, like considering that is when people constantly, I'm talking about my parents now, when people constantly move, and they constantly destabilize and don't feel settled where they are. I think that's a form of escapism. And I think that's what my parents were dealing with. They had their own issues and they constantly felt like the grass is greener. So wherever they moved to next was the hopes that this is going to be the place. And of course, as me seeing this as a child, it was really hard to just have some kind of structure, some belonging, any kind of stability.
Yeah.
I had to constantly have new friends. I had to constantly be the newbie in school.
Yeah.
You know, actually they used to call me, it started by newbie. One of my schools that I went to, they started calling me newbie, and then it went to newie, which ended up being my nickname as a kid. And I just would introduce myself as that because I'm like, I know I'm going to be here for 2 months and I'm going to see you later. So of course it's really tough as a child. Children especially need some stability. So it was definitely tough. I mean, now I've learned to see the strength in that, but it definitely took me a long time. I was never like, oh, this is great. but I have seen now that it has given me this superpower of adaptability.
Yeah.
I'm very flexible and easygoing. If you tell me right now we're gonna
Yeah.
change studios and go next door, I'll be like, let's go.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you must feel so lonely at the beginning. Like it's not easy as a child to always move from place to place. And I can relate to what you said. And it's not easy, I think.
Yeah, no, it's not. I think that also gives us like a lesson as well. When you see it 30 years down the line, right? You look back and you go, okay, so this was a really big pivotal moment that I now can learn from for my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can inspire your kids as well. So
Yeah,
it's good.
exactly. Yeah. Now I'm like, look, unless we really need to move anywhere, I try to not put her in that situation. But also, I think it's also important that if you have to move, let's say, it's very important to have a stable parent.
Yeah.
I'm talking about emotionally and in general of being present.
Yeah.
If you have a stable, present parent, it might not affect you as much. But if you're constantly dealing with the ups and downs of your parents, and
Yeah.
then you have to read the room always, you don't even know how to read your emotions, but you're having to read the room, like what's going on now?
Yeah.
What's the new drama in the house, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think that's also more destabilizing. So it's such a huge lesson to see what has really come out of it and what's affected me the most.
Like you can become emotionally, how to say it, more aware of the emotions of your child as well.
Now I'm aware of the things that I might do that might affect my child, but to be emotionally intelligent from the things and the adversity that I've been through is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like it didn't just become like, hey, I've been through the worst and I've been through these, times where it was tough and the challenges and all of a sudden I'm this strong person. It's not. It's actually using the pain whenever you can. Most of the time it's after you realize you're like 26 and you're like, okay, things are not looking very good right now. And then you start to wake up and you start to become like what you said, self-aware. And then you start to do the work and you realize, okay, I think I need to actually stop running away from my pain, look into it with a magnifying glass and face it head on and try to use it as like a portal, to understand more about myself. And then comes emotional intelligence.
Okay.
I don't believe anybody who says, I've had it rough and I've not done any work, but I'm just this amazing, strong person. I feel like they would be probably burying a lot down under this carpet.
Yeah.
I think it's if you put in the work for the healing, then yes, you become emotionally resilient for sure.
Yeah, I can totally imagine. And I wanted to ask you, how did you get into skydiving? It's an amazing part of your life. And I mean, I don't even know a lot of women doing this. So it's inspiring. So how did you get into this?
Thank you. I love that you say that it's inspiring because it was kind of something I needed to be inspired. If it was a time in my life that I was kind of repeating a lot of patterns. And I had this story that I was afraid. And like, I'm afraid of heights. And this was my story. And it was like the story was written over my head. Naila is afraid of heights. And I feel like skydiving was like a confrontation of those fears. It's like, put yourself in the chaos and then get through the chaos and know that you can actually handle the chaos. And then you're not really afraid. You're telling yourself a story for so long that it becomes an actual trait. It actually becomes that way. The anxiety starts to feed the thoughts start to feed the feelings, and everything starts to loop around. You're like, I'm afraid of heights. This is my story. And I really wanted to defy that. So skydiving was a bit extreme. Some people could take pottery. You can do something a little less extreme. But for me, I think I had such an extreme need to change my life that I ended up doing something extreme. And it has changed my life. I'm not afraid of heights anymore.
Yeah.
I still have fear, but I know how to face it. I know that it's not something that it's like, I'm afraid, I will not do this. I'm debilitated. I'm never going to do this because I'm afraid. Now I'm like, okay, I'm afraid. I'm going to do it anyway. Be aware of the fear and know that I can see it and do the thing anyway.
Yeah.
Because then I'm actually going to make a change. Otherwise, I'm just going to live inside of a box and do the same thing every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just an adrenaline rush. Like it was for you to overcome your own fears. I can feel that.
Yeah, it was overcome the fears, and more than just the adrenaline, because adrenaline goes away. It was more like a investment into the new version of me. I was like, okay, when I landed, of course the adrenaline goes away, but I was like, wait, I just did that? That's so
Yeah.
cool. I can do that? How? And the fact that I could jump again, I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it started to give me so much more confidence.
Yeah. Even in your mindset. I
Yeah.
think it changed all your mindsets.
Of course. And then I started to think, like, why, if I can skydive, I can do anything, and it started to build my self-esteem, and my self-esteem was very low. When
Yeah.
you are abandoned or forced to grow up so fast, so early,
Yeah.
you have this like lingering sense of unworthiness. You're like, I'm not good enough. I know it. Because
Yeah.
if my parents who love me the most can leave and, never come back, then why am I worthy? And then you take that and then you carry it around with you for the rest of your life until you do something about it.
Yeah.
And it shows up in your relationships. You try to put all this effort in, like, I really want you to love me, so I will be anything you want me to be,
Yeah.
and that is so toxic. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
very
going to lead to
toxic.
healthy relationships, right?
No,
Yeah.
not at
So
all.
that was one of the first steps for me.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you about skydiving. Is it a professional activity or is it just a hobby?
It's both.
Okay.
But I started by it just being a hobby. And then because I was sharing my story and having a voice on Instagram, people started to follow along for that, just to see the journey of skydiving. And then I got lucky enough that certain brands would reach out to me. They wanted to be part of the story.
Nice.
Yeah. So initially it was just a hobby.
You were forced to grow up too young, right? And how has that impacted your relationships? Because what results the most is, as you said, lack of self-worth, emotional dependency, and fear of rejection. So how has that
Yeah.
impacted you?
Yeah, definitely. So kind of like what I said is, when you have that feeling that you're not good enough because the people who were supposed to love you the most weren't there for you, you start to bring that into relationships. And what happens is you actually lose a lot of your identity. Maybe you don't even gain your identity at all if you grew up with this. And you start to believe that you need to be someone else. So you start to shrink yourself.
Yeah.
You start to become someone that other people believe that would make other people happy. You're not becoming somebody that you are proud of. You're just becoming
Yeah.
somebody that will morph into the version that people will keep, that people will love, right?
Yeah.
And that is probably the most the most damage you could ever do, coming into a relationship being that person. Because actually, in a healthy relationship, and I know this now because I had the unhealthy relationships where somebody was
Yeah.
happy that I would just do anything for them, but at my expense, at the cost of my identity, right? That's not healthy.
No.
So it's important not to shrink yourself. And how that affected me was, I just saw the pattern. And now I'm 34 years old and I see the patterns, because it's been multiple relationships where you morph yourself into someone else, but then obviously that's going to expire.
Yeah.
You can't do that forever, right?
Yeah.
You try to move somewhere that well, he lives there, it's his hometown, he's happy there, so maybe I'll move there. And then putting all your eggs in one basket and being like, this is exactly what I need to do. I need to just sell my soul and go to this person. You lose the authentic you slowly, and then your self-esteem starts to erode. And you start to feel so unhappy. It's very simple. Like, you literally go into a pattern of depression and then you go, why am I not happy in these relationships? And the pivotal moment, the biggest turning point, is knowing that I need to be somebody that I'm proud of. I need to be somebody that I'm in love with. So I want to be myself truly.
Yeah.
I don't have to perform for you to love me. If you really loved me, you wouldn't want me to perform. You wouldn't want me to be a performative person. You would want to connect with the true parts of me. And that's what true connection is. And obviously it took patterns, and I don't want to say failed relationships, because I don't believe they're failed, they're lessons. But that's kind of what it took, like doing the introspection, looking back at the pain and being like, instead of running away and going to another relationship, I decided, hold on, let's actually make a change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you just say to yourself, like, something's off, something's not clear, like you're repeating always the same patterns. So you definitely have to do the work. Like, you have a lesson to learn from that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you saw the patterns, how can you identify the signs of an unhealthy relationship? Like, what are the red
I will
flags?
talk about this all day. I'm like, you know why I've become the queen of understanding red flags is because I've experienced them all. Like, and the reason I say this is because I had blinders on. I had literally, I'm like, I'm just going into this relationship.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I'm meant to do. And now again, when going back and being aware and looking back and going, oh my God. So when somebody makes you feel like you are begging for their respect, when somebody makes you feel like you have to earn their love, when somebody makes you feel like your reality isn't true. What do you mean that happened? No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Gaslighting, I mean, what it does is actually changes your perception of your own reality, which makes you actually feel like, is it me? And then slowly you lose parts of yourself. Somebody weaponizing your vulnerability. When you are vulnerable with someone and you tell them your deepest, darkest secrets or some things that affected you, your trauma, and they go back in a fight and they go, this is probably because of your trauma, and this is called weaponizing.
Yeah.
Weaponizing your vulnerability. Red flag, toxic. And when I say toxic and when people say red flag, I think they need to actually not just be like, oh, this is a red flag. I'm going to keep an eye out, but I'm going to stick around. No, this is like something that actually is going to go into a siren, not just a red flag. This is going to damage you. It's not just the relationship will break down. You will be damaged. You will have to do years of recovery because this is abuse. So having to earn somebody's love, having to earn somebody's respect, it's not love. Love is expansion. You should feel like you're expanding and growing with the person. They're not judging you. They're actually looking at you and saying, I love the being that you are independently from me. I'm here to support that. I'm here to also be myself.
Yeah. So someone abused of your vulnerability, like.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I had I'll tell you a story. Do we
Yeah,
have time?
tell me.
We have time.
Tell me.
Yeah, I had this guy and it was when I was like dating, and he basically asked me everything in the beginning dates. And I thought, oh, how cute. He's so sweet.
Oh no.
He's so interested in me, right? He wants to know more about me. He wants to know, he's understanding. He was playing the empathetic mask and I was falling for it 100%. So I ended up giving him the blueprint to how to abuse me. And then one day, and a few times actually, he said, this is because your dad left you.
Oh my God.
And you're not letting me love you. So his explanation of me not letting him love me was basically me telling him a boundary. Me saying to him, you are not allowed to abuse me. To him was hurtful. Huh. Excuse me. You can't tell me I can't. You know what? This is your problem. It's because your dad abandoned you. It's because your mom didn't call last Christmas. And all this is weaponizing vulnerability.
Yeah. Narcissist people.
Narcissistic people. And you know what? It doesn't even matter if he's a narcissist or not. And I've said this on my podcast too, because I was obsessed with the fact of whether he's a narcissist or not. And then in the end, after doing all the research and reading every book under the sun, I realized, does it even matter? He's just can I curse?
Yeah.
He's just an asshole, like he is just a dick. He's just a bad person. Whether he has a mental disorder or not, it's actually not my task. My task is to remove myself from this terrible environment. And like I said, it's not just like, ooh, okay, well, we broke up. I didn't notice it. The problem is these things linger. You deal with them for years.
Yeah.
I still to this day have this like little voice in my head, and I go, maybe this is because my dad abandoned me. Who is that voice? I would never speak to myself like that.
Yeah.
So we have to understand the effect of the people that we're ready to get in a relationship with, and we have to give them time to show us who they truly are.
Yeah. And did you try to come back after that? Because a lot of people fall into the trap and coming back to that relationship. So
I'm not gonna lie to you. That relationship wasn't in and out, in and out, in and out. We kept going back. I kept going back to him and allowing him to have another go at me. Like, hey, you didn't shoot me well the first time. How about try your bullets again?
Oh my God.
But where did that come from? It's important to analyze where that came from. And that came from my need to make someone accept me and love me. And what that created was I wanted to fix him. And me thinking I was trying to fix him and trying to do the exact same bullshit but have a different outcome was a me problem. It was because I wanted to try to rewrite the bad things that have
Yeah.
happened to me. It's like when you can't fix your dad, maybe you can fix your husband, and then you feel
Yeah.
like things change. It's not going to happen.
No.
People will not. First of all, people are not going to allow you to fix them because no one wants to be fixed, right? People will fix themselves on their own.
Exactly.
Some people are unfixable, like, for example,
Yeah.
narcissists or psychopaths. And, literally, you can get a team of psychologists and they will not be able to crack that person.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not your task. And I love this task. I read this in a book called The Courage to be Disliked. And it's like, is it my task to fix you? No.
No, it's not.
And all the energy I spent on that person, as soon as I finally had a clean cut and a clean break and I did therapy and it started to finally be like a firm
Yeah.
wall, I had so much energy. I would wake up in the morning and be like, oh my God, I don't even need coffee. I am ready for the day. I'm ready for my friends. I'm ready to rule the world. I'm filming. I'm dedicated. I'm not distracted
Yeah.
by having to satiate him all day,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, I can totally relate to your story.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to know your story though.
No, because my uncle was a narcissist, but for me, I didn't had any problem to deal with narcissists. It's just like my auntie, it was terrible, and so when you say that, I can totally relate. And don't you think that being with a narcissist is something addictive? Like you always need that kind of adrenaline rush, or what do you think? Because
absolutely, but there's also like a scientific reason for that, right?
Yeah.
Because what narcissists do is they shapeshift and morph into exactly what you want them to be. For example, like the guy asking me for the blueprint to my life so that he knows exactly what you want, and then he can be that. And then he can give you tiny little increments of love. That's where the addiction comes from, right? You give the love intermittently and then you withdraw. And then you blame. And then you blame the other person for losing that love. So then it starts by showering with gifts. And sometimes it's not like this, by the way. Mine wasn't showering with gifts and everything. It was just affection. So it comes in different forms. It's not always like, he didn't buy me a billion roses, so maybe he's not a narcissist. He's not love bombing me. That's not true. Like it could come in many forms. But it could be the person you want them to be. And they're great. And you've got the most amazing few months. And you're like, oh my God, I feel like butterflies in my stomach. And then suddenly they start to text you less. Or they start to degrade you. They start to use kind of like what I told you, like weaponize your vulnerability. Or they start to, this is the worst, is they start to criticize the parts of you that they know you value the most. Like for me, I love my podcast. I love my podcast so much. It's everything that I am putting my heart into, right? And then he would just say a couple words that would make me completely doubt my content, doubt my episodes, doubt my thing. And it would be with just powerful statement. And then he would walk out the room and he would leave me in pieces. And then if I had asked for, and this is another thing that's a red flag, is like lack of accountability. If I had asked him to be accountable and be like, by the way, what you said was really hurtful. And I felt like really bad after you did that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, you're so sensitive. I can't say anything to you. It's like I just walk on eggshells all the time. And it's like you can see the extreme overreaction, right? To kind of make you go, shh. Don't tell me your feelings. That's a very inconvenient thing for me. That's what a narcissist feels.
Yeah. So like 6 days on 7, they just love you so much, and one day it's just drop, and they, how to say, like make you feel like you're nothing, right?
Exactly. Or it could be the opposite. It could be one amazing day. With me, it started with a couple months that were amazing. Then it started to become like, when will the good day come? When will it be okay? And then I would look forward to the dinner. Or maybe the party that we're going to in 2 weeks. Maybe he'll act like a normal human there, where he would love me and be caring. I was waiting, looking at the calendar, waiting at the next time that he might actually show up as less than a piece of shit. Imagine that. So that's exactly what they do with intermittent rewarding.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And you could see how it still affects somebody. All the stuff about forgiveness, I don't forgive them. I don't forgive them because I think if you give them any kind of grace and forgiveness, I mean, listen, nothing we say is going to change them. Let's be real. They're just going to go on and do the same thing to another poor woman, or woman to a man, whatever. And it's just more like, I understand the damage that you've done, and it's affected me still to this day. I don't forgive you. I don't hold any place for you in my heart, but I have my peace knowing that you are forever going to be a soulless human being that didn't deserve my attention. Yeah.
That's good.
But it takes time though as
Yeah.
well. It wasn't like in the beginning. Again, like I went back to him a few times, you know. I kept getting burnt until I got here where I'm talking to you today with confidence and with the understanding of what's happened.
Yeah.
But I did go back to him, you know. So we all have this, you know, we keep going back for more, and then when we get hurt enough, then, you know, we start to introspect and go, oh my God, okay, now I understand what happened. Some people stay in marriages for 30 years.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about it.
It's really crazy. And they have kids with them. And
yeah.
so hopefully this movement, everything you're doing, everything that I'm doing, you know, the movement of trying to see the red flags in people is important, because sometimes it was never really talked about before until now. Now there's a huge mental health movement, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to understand that you can't be hyper, you know, critical, but you just have these, I mean, they're like a manual.
Yeah.
Really, narcissists are so freaking predictable. So it's important to understand it,
because we're more aware of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contents, of books, so it's easier now, I think, than before.
Yeah, of course. And you see it. They're very predictable.
Yeah.
They all basically go off the same freaking book.
Yeah.
There's like a narcissist manual somewhere. I don't know where it is, but we need to burn it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for sharing this, by the way. I think it's not easy, so thank you.
Of course.
And how to stop seeking for constant validation and set the right boundaries in our relationships. A lot of people struggle with that.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, and I struggled with that too. I think, you know what? Validation is natural, right? We all want validation, but when it is consistently derived from an external factor and you're constantly looking outwards for validation, it is the worst substitute for actual, you know, internal clarity. If you're internally clear, that's what you're trying to strive for. But if you just want to constantly get external validation, that is a really poor substitute. It doesn't last. It doesn't fulfill you. It's like a tiny drop of like maybe 2 minutes of, oh, this felt really good. And then it goes away and you're like, wait, oh my God, it's like a drug. I need it again. So it's really important to validate yourself. And when I say that, like there's a lot of people that say this stuff and you're like, what does that mean? But it's important to actually love yourself for who you are and actually be able to validate yourself. For example, I didn't know how to do that. I literally had to look outward.
Yeah.
I started writing down the things that I just did good, like that were going well in my life. And when I wrote them down, I realized that I am absolutely not grateful enough for myself, for all the hard work that I do. Like, and sometimes I write it down. I'm like, I have done really good things in my life. And why do I walk around feeling like I'm not enough? So that could be a really good, you know, initial step to just say, I did this. Like for you today, you know, you might go back now and be like, I need to edit. Oh, I relate, by the way. I need to edit. I have tomorrow's episode. I need to do this. Oh my God, let me check my Instagram and see how many people liked it. It didn't do well. Do I need to change my topics? And then you go into this like tornado of thoughts, right?
Yeah.
How about leave here and say, that was pretty cool. That was really cool. We just did a really cool episode. I'm proud of myself. You know, I look amazing. I'm a great host. It's true.
Yeah.
You have to validate these things.
Yeah.
Don't wait till somebody comments on your YouTube and goes, oh my God, Eva, you're amazing. Right? Because, and when it does happen, it's amazing, of course. Like I said, it's natural, but it has to come internally.
First.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even like, and you get to the point where even if something goes wrong, you just go, well, that just was shit. I'm serious. You're like my skydiving accident, right?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was really bad. You know, that was embarrassing. That was bad. But you know what? It happens.
Yeah.
I'm a freaking human. You know, you can't build your confidence and have it forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all start from somewhere, you know, and we have to be kind to ourselves, I think.
Give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. That's a beautiful place to be able to just give it to yourself. You will never need it from another man. You will never need it from anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think, the key is to first accept yourself and then people will accept you. Like it has to come from you.
Yeah.
You know, and confidence comes with self-love as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And confidence is like being competent, you know, like
Yeah.
being like, I did it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it could have gone wrong. It's fine, but you did it. You said
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
You tried something new. That's
Yeah.
confidence. It's not pretending to be confident.
Exactly,
It's
yes.
not being loud. It's not being the most boisterous
No,
person in
it's
the
not.
room. Yeah.
No, it's just taking action.
It's taking
think.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this.
You're very welcome. I love this conversation.
Yeah,
I love
me
talking to
too.
other women.
I love
you
too,
know.
like
So
boss
nice.
women, you know.
Yes, it's so true, I swear. That's actually something that's really beautiful as well. It's like the less validation you seek from men and the more you grow your internal strong,
Exactly.
not competitive but collaborative
Yeah.
women circle, there's something
It's
so
amazing.
beautiful there.
Yeah.
Like enough with the mean girls and the bitchy girls. Obviously, they're very easy to see, so you can you can
Swear,
dodge them like a
just
bullet.
like-
Woo! Dodge them, you know? I dodge mean girls like there is no
Yeah.
tomorrow. I do not mess with mean girls, you know? I get the energy and I'm like, see ya.
Yeah.
But
They're
when-
so predictable as well.
so predictable. We know it. We lived it all our whole lives. We're women. We know where we're, you know,
Yeah.
we know right away. But when you see a powerful, strong, dedicated, passionate woman that respects you, that wants to support you, that wants to support
Yeah.
your show, God, there's something so beautiful
Yeah,
there.
it's so powerful.
So powerful.
Really. I think women together is just like such a powerful energy.
Yeah,
And we have to cultivate that.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And now that we talk about self-love, how to actually truly love yourself and accept yourself, like what kind of steps can you do in a daily life, in your daily routine?
Okay. Here's how to love yourself. And I'm saying this to me. I've said this to me. I've learned from this. And I'm saying it as if I'm talking to my daughter. And to love yourself truly means to be honest with yourself, to have complete, relentless honesty with yourself, being completely true with who you are. I am okay with knowing my downfalls. I know my flaws. I accept them. I know my pain. I see it. I face it. This is who I am because I'm honest with myself. If I make a plan, I stick to it. And slowly but surely, you realize that that self-love is actually being birthed within you because you trust yourself, you respect yourself because you know that you keep your promises. You know that you follow along the lines of things that you know you're going to do. You know that if you go through pain, you're not scared of it. You're not going to numb it.
Yeah.
You're not going to run away from it because you love yourself too much. So what do? You face it. You do the work. You journal. You do your shadow work. You face your things. If somebody, for example, being abandoned as a child, as a teenager, my mom was like, I can't take care of you anymore. See you. And every day of my life that I said that doesn't affect me was a lie. It did affect me. And the time that I started to actually feel true love for myself was when I said, this really affects me and I'm really sad. And I want to go back and I want to work with my inner child, the child that was left back. I want to go and do the meditations and the breath work and the journeys where we close your eyes and you go back into that memory with IFS called internal family systems. And you go back and you hold her hand and you tell her that you love her. She doesn't need anyone else to tell her that she loves, that she's loved. And that was the most powerful way to feel like I actually love myself. You know, nobody else can give that to me. Nobody in the world could have given me that. No mantra, no affirmation, no bubble bath, no spa treatment, no vacation, even going on a yoga retreat, right? I've done that many times in my life, but not having the correct intention and knowing that if you're just going to do yoga all day, be my guest. But if you're going to do it with the right intention to actually go feel the pain, feel the emotions, let them happen. Stop running from them. That's where you actually hit home.
Yeah, because we don't learn how to accept our emotions in this society. It's so complicated. It's so hard. I'm struggling with that, actually.
Really. But it's also, do you think it's also how we're conditioned? Because like when you're young and you cry and your parents tell you don't cry because it's really annoying to them, right? It's very annoying. I mean, I've caught myself one time. I was like, my daughter had a massive tantrum that like lasted what felt like eternity. And her voice went like supersonic or, you know, like I was like, and I remember holding myself back and I was like, oh my God, what was that? I was going to be like, don't cry. That's not going to help her. It doesn't give her any resolutions. It doesn't make her resolve her problem.
No.
And it's more about us, right? And that's more about our parents. They were
Yeah,
annoyed because they want to hear it. So they're like, don't
as
cry.
well.
Don't be angry. Don't be this, don't feel, don't
Yeah, don't
feel,
feel.
don't feel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then now we're like, it took me, this is really, I've never said this before. This is really like crazy.
Tell me.
I did a journey in Bali with Martin O'Toole, and we were doing a meditation, and he took me on a guided trip and everything. And I couldn't cry. I struggled
Really?
to cry. And I was like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
I have a protector inside of me that's like, you are strong, you're a resilient woman, and you are not supposed to feel.
No, it's false.
And she comes every day. Every single day I have to do the work to be like, no, it's okay for me to cry. It's okay for me to feel pain. Even if my daughter sees it, it's good for her to know that her mommy has
Of
emotions.
course, like, yeah, there's always this little voice inside our heads telling us, like, don't do this, be a strong woman.
Yeah.
Like, don't show your emotions or you're weak.
Yeah.
Like, emotions are a weakness in this society. And
Yeah. Which is crazy because if you ever met somebody who like never cries and never shows any emotion, you would be terrified.
Yeah, true.
You would be like, whoa,
What's happening?
sociopath. No, but I'm kidding, but it's true. Like, sometimes you meet people and they have like one
Yeah.
expression
It's true. It's
and they, or they don't smile or whatever. And you go, oh my God, I need to
so
say that.
scary, like.
Scary. But if somebody comes to me, even if we just met, if you took me to the side right now and you told me that you were having a bad day and you cried, I would respect you so much. I would never be like, oh my God, she showed her feelings.
Yeah,
Ugh.
no. And actually, that's what makes us powerful, to
So
show
true.
our
Yeah.
vulnerability.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
something beautiful in that, right?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what my podcast is based on. I wish I can do it with no makeup straight from my bed. Like, I wish, but there's got to be some presentation.
Yeah.
But I just want to talk about things that everyone else is scared to talk about.
Yeah. No one talks about that, actually. Emotions and how to feel our emotions, how to show our emotions, like how to accept.
Imagine if we invested the same energy we invest right now in blocking everything. Imagine if we invested the same amount of energy in actually allowing things to be felt, allowing emotions to rise to the top, allowing this compassion for self. Wow.
Yeah, it would be amazing. So I wanted to talk about your divorce as well. And how did you rebuild yourself after your divorce? What was the steps?
I went to therapy, but it wasn't just that. It was like a combination of that and also what we just talked about, which is like investing in myself. When I say that, like I said, it's not a bubble bath and it's not just reading books. It's creating a new routine that empowered me to feel like I love myself, that I accept myself. But I also didn't just bypass the pain, I gotta say. Like, I realized there was a lot of grief to be felt, and I let myself have the pain. I let myself cry. I remember being in the gym and I was stretching, and all of a sudden, like, it came and I was like trying to hold back. It's like I really wanted to hold back from crying because I'm not supposed to break, right? But there were moments where I allowed myself, and it felt it felt really relieving, and it felt like a rebirth. I do genuinely feel like a part of me has died, like the part that I was in that relationship, the version of me I was. I feel like there was a rebirth, and I'm very happy for the newly born Naila.
Yeah.
So I'm focusing on the positives there. We have a child together, so I try to constantly we both try to not bring in any negativity. So his journey is his journey and my journey is mine. I focus on just showing love and positivity. But yeah, I created a routine. I created a routine to lift something heavy, I created a new routine to lift something heavy, cook, learn to do new things, put myself in situations where I can meet good women, nice, kind women who can help support me. And it's a process, it's not just like, oh, just got through a divorce. I'm feeling great. Of course, there are days where I miss being in a partnership, but I also don't miss being in a partnership that wasn't helping me evolve and that was keeping me in a place that I didn't want to be in.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this with such vulnerability.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can feel that it's a huge healing process as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. So you need to how you said, like, follow a therapy. Did you do some nice routine as well? New routines in your daily life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I started to do things that I lost, right? What did I lose? Like I was constantly busy thinking about how he felt. And then when he wasn't there because he was traveling a lot, I was constantly so codependent that I felt like I had to tame and satiate my anxiety until he came home. So once all of that, I worked on my anxiety myself and did the shadow work and tried to heal that little girl in there that was codependent,
Yeah.
that was relying on him for everything in my life. And I started doing simple things like cooking, like so therapeutic, just literally taking the time to slowly slice an onion. We don't
That's
do that. It's
nice.
so true. We
Yeah.
don't do that. I'm constantly on the phone, constantly writing,
Always.
constantly doing things. Or even if I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to watch TV, you know? So just like being, and I still struggle with it.
In the present moments.
In the present moment,
Yeah.
and being still with the thoughts, letting them happen, let them come. And little things like that, honestly, like just cooking, spending more time with my daughter, doing like things that other people would find mundane. Like, you
Yeah.
know, taking a small bike ride together, and you know,
That's
spending that
nice.
time and knowing that I am a unit on my own. I don't need,
Yeah.
I really don't need, I want to have a partnership. I don't need a partnership, right? I want to have a partnership that we can grow together and we
Yeah.
are both expanding our love together, of course. Do I need one? No. Do I need him to complete me? No.
No, because you're already complete.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Or I can complete myself. If I'm feeling like something is lacking, if I feel per se incomplete, I can fix that.
Yeah.
I have the tools.
Exactly.
Right? And if I don't have the tools, I can find the tools. We live in a time where there is a plethora of resources. If you tell me you have depression and you're telling me you can't fix your depression, you are just blocking your
Yeah.
fixing of your depression.
True.
There are ways. There's
Yeah.
always ways. There's endless ways, and they don't have to be medication. I've tried medication before. All it did was keep me
I
quiet.
don't think it's working.
Yeah. It just keeps you quiet for a while.
Yeah.
So you go, what? I had a problem? I don't remember. What was my problem again?
Really?
For me, I was so numb, you know? It was so true, I swear. Like I tried Prozac and what was the other one? Sertraline, and I feel like I just became kind of like a Black Mirror
Yeah.
version of myself. You know when the eyes go glassy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean that's not healthy.
No.
And I was probably gonna think I'm okay and maybe go into another relationship and go, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then bring all my shit into the new relationship.
Yeah.
And the new person's probably gonna be
No.
like, I didn't sign up for this. You should have done your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because if you don't fix the problem itself, like the source,
It's gonna keep coming.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Until you're ready to not do the same thing,
Yeah.
you're gonna do the same thing.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that you're into a healing process and in a process of becoming a new person, what are your new goals? Do you have new steps in your life?
You know what my biggest goal is? I really want women to stop suffering on the hand of abusive, wounded men who have broken inner children inside of them and have not done the work.
Yeah.
I want to use my voice to share my stories and help the next woman or even a man, like their narcissism and abuse, even if it's not narcissism, abuse in all types,
Yeah.
comes in shapes and forms and genders and everything. I just want people to understand how to be able to have an armor around them that is made by them, that they can shield themselves from this. And I want to keep being vulnerable and open and share my stories out loud with absolutely no filter, you know? And that's really my goal right now. You know, I don't want to be perfect.
Yeah.
I don't even ever want to have that goal in my life. I want to be free. And I've always wanted to be free my voice and free my goals. And this is the mission right now, is help people suffer less by sharing my suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually I have the same goal approximately. Like I want to help people using their full potential and break free from injunctions, like society's, I don't know how to say it, but society's pressure and achieve their goals. So, yeah.
So true.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
Have you ever written down your goals?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. I never did it until I
Really?
was advised to do it like recently.
Oh,
And
you
I was like,
never.
oh, like I have it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you write it down, it's beautiful, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like
so
it's
empowering.
happening already.
Yeah,
That's what I feel.
exactly. Yeah, you're like, oh my God, I'm actually living this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yes. Thank you so much, Naila, for being here with me
course.
today.
Thank you
It
for
was a
having me.
lovely conversation.
It was. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me. I can't wait for this episode to come out.
Me
It was such a good
too.
conversation.
Yeah. I see you very soon for the next episode, and I wish you a very good day. Bye bye.